Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The DRF Bets race of the day for Saturday, March the 17th, an important Kentucky Derby prep. It is the Grade 2 Rebel. If you sign up for a new DRF Bets account, you can play the Rebel with your $150 sign-up bonus. Go to drf.com/join to find out more information and use the promo code TV150 when signing up. Here's the field of 3-year-old Derby hopefuls getting set to travel a mile and a 16th at Oaklawn. Carded as race number 10, $900,000 is the purse. Free formulator pass performances available on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, and Matt, the number 1 title ready really jumped up in a big way in his seasonal debut over course and distance.
Seasonal debut, first start as a 3-year-old, first start in blinkers, stretches out to 2 turns for the first time, a lot of firsts, and I thought he ran really well that day, Dan. I don't know if he's quite ready for a jump up in class like this, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this horse ultimately turned into something for Asmussen. It seems like Asmussen might be the guy this year with all the 3-year-olds. Everybody talks about Pletcher and Baffert. This year, it seems like Steve's got a good one after another, after another, after another. Like I said, inside this horse, there's a lot going on against him, but I think there's some talent here.
I like the way he won that race, as did you. He was pressing the pace in between horses, really ridden confidently, turning into the stretch, and then he opened up to win nicely. Career best buyer of 89. Jose Ortiz takes the mount. We have a positive formulator fact for Steve Asmussen concerning title ready. Past 4 years, last out winning 3-year-old Dirt Routers, going second off the layoff in graded stakes. He's won a third of the time. Positive return on investment. There's other speeds in here. Maybe that makes you worry a little bit because this horse has done his best running when as a leader or a presser.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think you combine the potential pace scenario with sort of that lack of experience against better horses. It's not like he was facing a ton of superstars in that last race. He's going to be facing a world of different animal here, but I think down the road he might be okay.
8-1 on the morning line could certainly be a value play. The 2 is Curlin's Honor. This is an undefeated son of Curlin. All he sold for was $1.5 million last year as a 2-year-old in training. He has been bet hard in both starts. Now he's not only stepping up in class, he's stepping way out in distance from Marcassi.
Yeah, you know, I realized he was in a little bit tight in behind horses down the lane in that most recent start. He angled out. He came with a little bit of a run. I thought it was just sort of a blah effort. I think he's going to need to do leaps and bounds better if he's going to be even competitive here.
The big name in this race is the number 3, Solomini, trained by Bob Baffert, finished first in the LoSal Futurity. Of course, there was that controversial disqualification McKenzie put up. Solomini disqualified and placed 3rd, which means that Solomini, interestingly enough, for all of his accolades, has yet to win a stakes race. His 3 Beyer speed figures, his last 3 Beyer speed figures, is a 2-year-old. Better than the best last race buyer of any other horse in this race. He's the horse to beat, but what do we get off the bench? He had a hiccup or 2 over the winner.
Yeah, it's taken him a little bit of time to get back to the races. Baffert had to deal with a little bit of a cough, a little bit of a hiccup here and there. Long story short, he doesn't make his debut here until the middle of March. Baffert does very well with this sort of move, so I'm not too concerned about that. I think he's going to be ready to go. The question is, do you think he's going to move forward from his 2-year-old form? Because he's probably still the horse to beat even if he runs a low 90, but it's not like he is head and shoulders above everyone if he registers a 91 or a 92. If he takes a step forward and he gets into that high 90, low 100 range, then yeah, he's strictly the horse to beat.
And of course, Baffert has awesome numbers over the years historically at Oaklawn Park. That LoSal Futurity has produced 3 next out winners. Solomini is the horse to beat. He's 3-2 on the morning line. Sort of the X factor in this race is the brilliant number 4 Magnum Moon, 2 for 2 in his career for Todd Pletcher. He's going to get the acid test from a class standpoint, but last time out at 1-10, he handled the 2-turn test with no problem.
Yeah, I mean, visually, it was about everything you could have asked for. He was never out of first gear. Luis Saez chooses to stay aboard. This horse gets off, Sporting Chance. I think that's something to just throw in the back of your mind. I loved everything about that run at Tampa. I know he didn't beat much in there, but Vouch is an okay horse. We've talked about him for Arnaud Delacour. He absolutely humbled him. He was out in the clear, ridden like he was much the best, finished with ears pricked. I don't know what we're going to get from this horse. First time going up against better horses. You never know until they do it, but based on what he's done so far, I have no knocks.
The hottest 3-year-old sire on the Derby trail right now is Medaglia d'Oro, a couple of major prep wins last week. He's got the 5 higher power. This is a Pinot Comebred for Donnie Von Hemel. He is 2 for 2 around 2 turns. He beat a nice horse last time out, and this could be a value play. I know you like this horse a little bit.
Yeah, New York Central, the horse that he beat, is okay. Came back and won next out with an 83 buyer. I think this horse, look, he's got a serious amount of pedigree. The Dam, she was a multiple stakes winner, dirt and turf. He's a half to alternation, interrupted. So you know that there's some quality in here. I thought he was real professional in that return effort and that non-winners of two. Other than the question now is, boy, he's been gone since the middle of January. Why didn't he run in the race prior that all these other horses are coming out of the Southwest? Was there a hiccup? Was there an issue? What was the situation there? And then again, obviously he's going to be facing much tougher horses, but I think there's a reason to believe that he could move forward. He may not be a likely win candidate, but I think he can outrun his odds.
Great price on the morning line, 20-1. The 6 is Pryor. This is a son of Painter who's improved in 2 starts around 2 turns, including a muddy maiden win most recently on February the 19th. Talk about a big hike in class, and not sure he's fast enough to make the lead.
Yeah, and that's going to be the tough thing to find out if he can rate, and it's always tough to do that against better horses for the first time. But like you said, his only victory to date, most recently gate to wire fashion. I don't think he makes the top, and then that's part of the reason I don't like him.
Speaking who could make the lead, the 7 Sporting Chances tops in the Timeform U.S. pace projector. We take a look at the pace projector, and you'll note with that red bar, we're expecting a fast pace from Timeform U.S. in here. Sporting Chance is coming off a Southwest race in which it was his first start off an injury-induced layoff after winning the prestigious Hopeful. He was chasing a pretty quick pace. He got bounced around in upper stretch. I think all in all, Wayne Lukas had to be very pleased with that effort.
Yeah, you know, most things, when you go back and watch it, for all the reasons you just laid out, you've got to be very, very positive about it. It's also worth noting, though, that was a day that inside was where you wanted to be, and for 85% of the race, he was down on the inside. So you're right, he was bounced around in mid-stretch. I don't want to hold that against him, considering it was his first start since September, going 2 turns, a lot of positives there. Boy, the horses coming out of that Southwest, you got to keep a serious eye on them going forward. Who benefited from the rail and who was really taking it sort of out of their game, being hung wider than wide.
Would you send him to the top? Do you agree with this Timeform U.S. pace projector? Because it appears that Sporting Chance can sit if someone else wants to go. I mean, we know Solomini has a little bit of speed. It's kind of fascinating how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get as far as where people are going to be positioned. I think John Velasquez has just got to kind of play the break and say, if this horse breaks sharp, go on with it. Because as much as there is some other speed in here, I don't think there's any gangbusters. I don't think anybody wants to go blazing early. If he catches a flyer, go on with it.
Don't sleep on the 8 High North. We talked about this horse before the Risen Star Stakes, and it was going to be his first start off of a layoff. This horse is a closer that needs some pace, and the pace really didn't materialize in the Risen Star. I was very surprised that this horse was close up in the pocket. It was a Corey Lanerie special. He never got off the rail, and he flattened out a little bit. I think he was a bit short, and these connections had a choice that weekend. They could have run at Oaklawn, where they're from. They ran at the fairgrounds. Now they're here. I think they've got a tighter horse getting the right pace setup. Not sure he's good enough to win, but I think, like you, your thoughts with higher power, he's going to outrun his odds on Saturday.
Yeah, and you know, that's the real important thing to keep in mind. You've got to make a decision what you think of the Risen Star. The Risen Star was a merry-go-round, and I think Corey Lanerie, you're right, he just took up that position that he always does. But I also think he was a lot closer because he kind of had to be. If you were just taken all the way back, he had no chance to make up any ground, and even being as close as he was, nobody did any real running. I think this horse is better than that Risen Star would indicate. But again, you as a handicapper, you need to decide, do you think the Risen Star was any good, or do you want to throw it out?
He's a closer. Zing Zang is coming from a different area code. He has 0 early speed, but I think he has a little bit of ability. The problem is, and I think you agree with me on this, he may want even more distance.
Look at the way that he runs. He's another one of Aspason's runners. I feel like 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles. Those are going to be the kind of races you don't look. It's too easy to just sit here and say he's gray. It's Oaklawn. It's Aspason. He's creator. It's too easy to do that. But there is a part of me that looks at it and says, if he gets some pace, probably more distance than what he's going to get on Saturday, I don't think we've heard the last of this horse going forward.
Lots of things to like about the number 10 Combatant. I think you can make the argument that he was the best horse in the Southwest. No disrespect to My Boy Jack, but you mentioned that the inside was good, and My Boy Jack just never left the rail, while Combatant had to come very wide into the stretch. You switch the trips, I think you switch the result. Plus, Combatant's got some nice tactical gear, might be able to settle in the outside in the second flight, free of traffic.
Yeah, agree 100%. The fact that he was as far off the rail as he was and the way that he finished, I thought it was very, very positive. I'm not sure what I want to do with the whole popping back to his left lead situation for that final 16th of a mile, because I don't know if it was the distance or maybe it was just that tiring racetrack and being hung out in the middle of nowhere. I think this race for me is going to do a lot to determine if I think he's more of a middle distance, maybe one turn kind of horse, or if he can handle the rigors of going longer.
We complete the field with 50 to 1 shot Bodie's Maker. He's a stakes place sprinter at Remington Park, but he's been hit hard in the Springboard Mile and the Smarty Jones against the likes of Combatant. Tough spot, tough post, big price.
Yeah, a lot of things going against him. If he wins this race, no disrespect to the connections, you probably want to throw this entire race out.
Let's take a look at our top selections for Saturday's DRF Bets Race of the Day. You want a price. That's the number 5, Higher Power, 20 to 1 on the morning line, and you'd like a mid-pack trip ideally.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that, now one's the two other than early on, he was right up in the pocket, and he just got a little bit up on heels, and he was forced to take back a little bit by Cabrera, and he was mid-pack. I like the fact, though, that 2 starts back, he sat 2 lengths off of it, made a little bit of a move. If he can get up in there behind Solomini, behind Magnum Moon, maybe Sporting Chance goes, if he can sit in that first flight just behind them, I'll take my chances at a big number.
Solomini's sort of the master of the obvious, most likely winner. Keep an eye out on Title Ready, the number 1. Maybe he's not ready for this kind of competition just yet, but he draws inside, and if a couple of these other speed horses decide to just take a look out of the gate, maybe Jose Ortiz hustles Title Ready from that inside post, and maybe he takes this field a long way. I'm going 3-1-4 in the Rebel, but I'll use a little bit of Title Ready. Matt's going for the fences with the 5, Higher Power. If you're playing the Rebel, if you're playing this really fantastic Oaklawn Saturday card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. $150 bonus is yours when you go to drf.com/join and you type in the promo code TV150. An approximate post time for the Grade 2 $900,000 Rebel, 6:09 Central. Good luck.